All right. Good afternoon and welcome back, everybody, to the 3-day challenge. We are on day 2 and really excited to have you guys back. Can't wait. So if this is the first day, maybe if you missed yesterday, just to give you a little bit of insight and recap, I am Kate Archibald, the host, and with us today, we got amazing provider, peptide genius, functional medicine practitioner, multi-book author. His most latest book is Never Stop Healing. If you haven't read it, go get it. It's on Amazon or other places. Just look up Never Stop Healing by Reagan Archibald. And he's also the founder of East West Health and has put together the Accelerate Wellness programs, which these programs are changing lives. It's changed my life. I shared a little bit of my story when after you jumped off yesterday, Reagan, and so hopefully you guys have had an opportunity to dive in and get your consultation. If you haven't, no problem. We'll dive in. I think there's a few slots left, but they are going quick. So excited for day 2 though, Reagan. How you doing today?
Really good. Yeah, it's been a great day. I've been able to talk to so many amazing people, people who are feeling better than they ever have before, looking better. I talked to a couple. They're 2 patients who live in Wisconsin, and they said, "You wouldn't believe how much more creativity I have. I'm feeling better," and they've started 2 new businesses.
Oh, that's incredible.
So they're like, "Man, I cannot believe it. Like how much more enthusiasm that we have for life." And they're entrepreneurial by heart, but this is it's just supercharged their life. So
that's exciting. Well, I typed it into the chat box, but if you guys don't mind, I want to make sure the chat box is working and you're able to function on it. Just type in where you're joining us from. Want to know where you're joining us from. I'm in St. George, Utah. Reagan's up in Salt Lake. But just want to know where you guys are joining us. Hey, Joy from St. George. Beautiful day in St. George today.
Yeah.
Awesome. We got Millington, Michigan. Hey, Dean. Very cool. Yes, it is a gorgeous day here. Yeah, it's a nice day up in Salt Lake today. Looks like gorgeous. The sun's shining.
Yeah, gorgeous. Yes.
Awesome. Well, let's dive in. We got Susie from Murray. Hey, Susie.
Man, it's so good to have everyone on here. Okay, well, today I'll just kind of recap, kind of what we mentioned yesterday is, it takes a bit of thinking differently when it comes to health. And so one of the things that we talked about is using some novel treatments. Peptides are a primary foundational treatment protocol that we use to address the HPA axis, to get your thyroid turned back on. And then we also use Selenk, epitalin to help calm the brain, activate things, because we talked about kind of the brain fog that comes with thyroid issues. And then we also talked about insulin resistance. Do you have the skin tags? Do you have hanger? Do you have, kind of shaky irritability if you don't eat? These are all things that we covered yesterday. And so just so you know what it's like to work with us within our program, it's very structured. So if you're not somebody who likes structure, I would not recommend, you just probably want to just not even listen to this. Because as Kate knows, we run a very tight ship in our programs. And so we have very specific challenges, and these challenges are all laid out in detail in my book, Never Stop Healing. But part of your challenge in month 1, when you're going through these first phases of peptides, is you got to do the mindset morning. That's 3 minutes of meditation or prayer in the morning, both 3 minutes of goals, 3 minutes of visualization. Daily acts of kindness just makes the world a better place. And then Wim Hof breathing. And so these are some of the things that you'll be doing. And then on the physical side, we said, get rid of sugar and start drinking water that's not fluorinated, because the tap water is what downregulates your thyroid. So just so you guys know, these are some of the things that are right there in our program. And so I want to congratulate, man, we had a bunch of people call and schedule yesterday. I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you. I apologize. Our schedule, it got filled up faster than what we realized it would. And so for those of you who are like, hey, I really want to get in, we are creating, we have a few left today, but those will fill up by tomorrow. So make sure you get on top of those. And then by tomorrow, we'll at least offer a wait list. So as people cancel, we'll move you in if things aren't available. So, and then one of the other things we do in our protocols is we have very specific phases of detoxification. We use charged particles and very specific binders to help your body with the 3 phases of detoxification. So cell core is a big part of what we utilize as well. So you can see phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 2 is when we really start working on some of those parasites and really working on the kidneys, the liver, opening things up in whole new ways. So it will give you a nice boost of energy. So, all right, so let's jump into day 2. So leaky gut. Cade, when you hear the term leaky gut, what do you think of?
I think of like a strainer and the gut's just billowing out. No, it makes me from what it actually is, it makes me think of like a lot of digestive discomfort and autoimmunity.
Oh, that's it. And this is what we're going to be talking about
Susie
today.
agrees with me. She said, you got holes in your gut and it's leaking into your stuff.
Yes, undigested
it
protein.
is really leaking into your body, like you said, Susie.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that today. And so just to, I want to congratulate you guys for being here. So remember our programs, there's 3 phases that you go through in order to reclaim your health, to turn on the fat burning, to get your body out of that inflamed state where you're the interference with toxins. And you got to go through the reset, the recharge, the restore, and then the reclaim cycle. So think about how far you've come. You guys are here, and I want to congratulate you for that. But here's the problem and the cost of doing nothing. A lot of people forget that by doing nothing, we think, well, I don't really need to listen to this because I'm fine. Well, I can tell you that in the thousands of labs we've ran, we see so many markers that predict your health 10 years from now, because we're practicing predictive medicine. This is not reactive medicine. If you're looking for reactive medicine where you want a diagnosis and you want a medication, this is the wrong place. What we want to do is help you avoid these major diseases. So here's what happens with heart disease. It's been shown to start in our youth, which is 20 to 40 years before diagnosis. Cancer has been shown to start 15 to 20 years before diagnosis. Alzheimer's, 30 to 50 years before diagnosis. And then diabetes can start in some form of prediabetes years before. There's 80 million people walking around that are pre-diabetic. They don't even know it. Heart disease, the expense of that is, well, first of all, 50% of people who have a heart disease or a heart condition, the very first symptom they have is death. They have a massive cardiovascular event. If you're fortunate enough to live, that heart disease diagnosis is going to cost you an extra $4.8 million out of pocket throughout your lifetime. That's crazy. Kate, could you think of better ways that we could spend either our tax dollars with, Medicare, or our insurance dollars, or the out-of-pocket dollars, $15,000 a year for heart disease? Can you think of some better ways to spend that money, or not really? Medication.
Absolutely.
Going to a doctor is fun.
Yeah, there's a lot better solutions than taking medication, getting stints, and a lot of it comes in the forefront though, because once you're there and in the hospital going through a heart attack, it's your options are very limited. But there's so many amazing things you can do before that aren't going to cost 4.8 million.
That's right. Yes. So let's look at this. So what we want to do is we want to say, okay, what if we could create this residual compounding effect when it comes to your health? Because so many of us, we start developing these habits. And like I was just talking to my patient, one of my patients who lives up in Montana, and she was saying, I just got in this habit where when I cook dinner at night, I like a glass of wine. And when I'm looking at her cardiovascular markers, her blood sugar, her inflammation has just gone higher and higher. And she said, it's that little thing that I was doing that's caused a decline in my health, and then eating sugar. And so now what's going to happen is she's now made the commitment where she's going to go in the opposite direction and start making these small little incremental improvements that lead to long-term health. So that's what we're talking about. We promise this residual return on your health, because why does health matter? We talked about this yesterday. We'll keep reminding you over and over again, is your health is your most important investment. It's the thing that we take most for granted, and we never give ourselves the credit, and we don't give ourselves the permission to actually do something that's going to make a big change. And that's, one of the things that we look at. Number one, better health means better relationships. You'll have more positive relationships. Better health means more self-confidence. Health generates financial stability. We talked about Tara yesterday in the program, and Tara was somebody who came through. She had Hashimoto's and hypothyroid condition that almost left her on disability. She was working part-time. The medical bills were stacking up. All her bills were stacking up. She still made the commitment to invest in her health. And then what happened? That was in 2020. In 2021, she made $70,000 more because she got herself healthy. She said, man, now I was able to work. I was able to get promoted, pick up extra shifts at work. And so being healthy is your best pathway for financial stability. Health also increases peace of mind. It creates a better future for yourself and for others. So that's why I like working with people who are ambitious, because they see a bigger future. But there's two things that get in the way of your health. One of those is inflammation, and the other one is interferences. Where does inflammation come from? Well, it can come from physical trauma, chemical trauma. This can come from infections. It can come from emotional trauma, and then it can come from deficiencies, like deficiencies in peptides, in hormones, and in nutrition. And then interferences are crazy because they can come from biotoxins, that's mold in your environment. Biotoxins can be the plastics. It can be from the water that we were talking about yesterday, the fluorinated water. It can come from traumas, infections as well. So these things rob you of energy and rob you of your health. And so what happens is a lot of people, their mitochondria, when you have these interferences and inflammation going on, is your mitochondria now go into the state of fight or flight, or it's called a cell danger response, where they're sending out signals to your body that, hey, Reagan's in a fight or flight mode, let's get out of here. And so then you don't ever reclaim the energy that you need, and you miss it. And you start having symptoms like fibromyalgia. We see cell danger response is directly correlated to fibromyalgia. We see it with autoimmunity like Hashimoto's and lupus. And I can tell you that cell danger response is not fun. So the other thing we want to do is we start saying, okay, well, let's get rid of this condition, this inflammation and interferences. How do we do it? Well, there's 3 steps. We've got to reset the mindset, reset your HPA axis, and then reset the recovery hormones. Then we've got to recharge the DNA, recharge the gut health, recharge the mitochondria. And then at the end of the day, the end of the program, the final phase is where we restore vitality with metabolic flexibility and age reversal techniques. So that's a big thing. So once again, we're going to show you today, we've got some interesting things to talk about on leaky gut. So we're going to give you a clear vision as to why your body's not at the level of health you want it to be. And if it is at the level of health, we'll show you what to look for so that your health continually improves, because it's never static. There's no such thing as homeostasis, regardless of what the biology books talk about. And so let's get that clear look at what needs to happen. So let's jump into the gut. So Cade, can bacteria in your gut make you fat?
Yes, absolutely.
And there's interesting studies on this. You remember the fecal matter transplant, Cade, in mice that were skinny mice poop put into fat mice. The fat mice became skinny, and then they took the poop of the fat mice, put it into the skinny, and the skinny mice became obese.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So if you don't think the bacteria in your gut's that important, hopefully that little study shared a big insight with you. we've seen it in humans too, where humans, you can take the fecal matter from one human and transplant it in another, and your body can start expressing either health or expressing disease. So we don't recommend doing this at home, by the way. There's
Yeah,
don't say, hey, you look really healthy, let me do a fecal matter transplant and then I'm going to get healthy. There's been some experiments that have gone bad because you need to screen it out and test it. And I don't think any of you would do that. It probably grossed everyone out, but yeah. So what we know is the bacteria in your gut are responsible for all the hormones, the hormonal activity. It's responsible for cleaning up your cardiovascular system. It's responsible for neurotransmitters. The bacteria in your gut literally helps formulate every biological function in your body. There's this gut-brain connection. If you've read the book Grain Brain by Dr. Perlmutter, he's got some phenomenal insights on how this works. But what they've shown is that when you have a diverse diet, lots of vegetables, lots of healthy meats, good oils, good fish, fruits, these things can really help create more diversity. And then the greater the diversity you have better bifidobacteria, Bacteroides, Prevotella, and then you have a lowering of Firmicutes, beta-glucuronidase, and zonulins. So really one of the fastest ways to get leaky gut is to have a very low diversity in your diet or eating foods primarily that are ultra processed. And so, like you can see down here, donuts, cheeseburgers, fast food. Some of these foods can be really, really detrimental. Sugar can be very detrimental to the bacteria, and that can cause a condition called dysbiosis. And so what happens when you have dysbiosis is your bacteria start sending out signals to the mitochondria in your cell, and then the mitochondria go into that cell danger response, and they start sending a signal that your body's in fight or flight response. And then your body's bacteria, that Firmicute, starts to raise up. So, okay, do you remember that fun way of remember the Bacteroides and Firmicute? If you want to be firm and cute, get rid of the Firmicutes.
There it is. Yes.
So, because that Firmicute will cause you to start putting on weight. Because how many of you have ever been mad at somebody because you just look at food and you gain weight, and they can eat anything in sight and they don't put on weight? How many of you know somebody like that? And you're just like, what is their problem? And
what's my problem is really the question, right?
Yes, what's my problem?
How so can they get away with it, not me?
Yes, because, let's say Kate and I both eat 2,000 calories, and I've got high levels of Firmicute bacteria cultures in my body. That phylum is just overgrown. Kate's got healthy Bacteroides and Firmicute ratios. He's done his stool test. He's been taking his peptides. He's feeling really good. Well, my body will behave as if I ate 3,000 calories, and my bacteria, the Firmicute, are going to store that extra food as energy, even though it's not extra food. They're going to store it as energy. So I never get the energy from my food. It all goes to the bacteria. Whereas Cade, he eats 2,000 calories and he just gets skinnier and skinnier, and I just get fatter and fatter. And one of the mechanisms is the bacteria. So it's really important that you look at this. And then what happens is you have this overgrowth of these unwanted bacteria. Then you start creating a condition called leaky gut. And there's certain foods that can cause leaky gut, viral infections, gluten can be one of those, overgrowth of certain bacteria, toxins. All these things can cause this tight gap junction in your gut to start opening up. And then you have undigested proteins that leak through. Dangerous place to be. So how do we test for leaky gut? How many of you would want to know if you have leaky gut, just by a show of hands? Should we show them, Kay?
Yes.
All right, so take some water and drink it. And if that water leaks out of your gut, and you've got leaky gut. Okay, not really. All right, so here's some symptoms. It'd be nice if you knew if you had leaky gut, if the water just came out, then you're like, I better clean up my diet, better clean up my act.
Yeah, that would be a nice little genetic upgrade if we could just get a nice little built-in testing system for that.
Yes.
Might be a little
Yes.
awkward though if you take a drink of water and your shirt gets all wet.
Absolutely. So if you have gas, bloating, or reflux, sensitivity, food sensitivities, rashes, if your skin flares up, if you get headaches or migraines, sometimes there's no symptoms at all, neurological issues like ADD, ADHD, tics, depression. This is where we see a lot of this in kids, chronic fatigue, muscle or joint pain, nutrient deficiencies, chemical sensitivities, allergies or frequent sinus infections, brain fog. Do you have low energy or frequent fatigue? Do you have seasonal allergies? Do you get sick more than 2 times a year or feel like you need an immune boost? Do you take aspirin or ibuprofen? Do you have loose stools or diarrhea? Are you busy most of the time and have stress? That means you eat fast. My last patient, she had massive leaky gut, and she says, I don't even remember what my lunch tastes like. I was trying to eat it fast so that I could get on the Zoom with you. So So I was like, no, you're making my job harder. Chew your food. So do you have IBS or other GI issues? Do you take any digestive medications? Have you struggled with candida or yeast infections? Do you have thyroid imbalances? Do you crave sweets, bread, or alcohol? Have you been diagnosed with autoimmune disease? So if you answered yes to any of these, you might have leaky gut. And so let me know how many positive markers you have. And then one of the best ways you can test that is through a stool test. But how many of you had a positive marker and you're like, oh, that's me. I have all of those, or maybe you had 4 of those or 3. Obviously, the fewer you have, the better. But one of the things you can do right out of the gates to help correct leaky gut is to drink bone broth. Bone broth is awesome because it has amino acids, the L-proline and L-glycine, and that helps repair the digestive lining. It also helps improve hypothyroidism. So bone broth can be very, very nourishing. It can feel really, really good. I like to put chocolate bone broth in my coffee, and that makes a huge difference. Tastes amazing. So bone broth can be one of those great things. So here's a patient of ours. Her name's Elizabeth, 52. She's got leaky gut and SIBO. For those of you who don't know what SIBO is, it's small intestine bacterial overgrowth. And Elizabeth, when she came in, she had extreme gut issues. She couldn't eat much without some type of reaction. She had constant heartburn. She said, I was tired, anxious, and felt confused about what direction to go. East West opened my eyes to the world of functional medicine. So for those of you who don't know what functional medicine is, here's a lab on the screen here that you can see. Functional medicine includes testing all 5 pillars of health. So gut health, brain health, we look at nutritional health, hormonal health, and then mitochondrial health. And so you can see in this is a gut profile that we ran for, and we found that she had some maldigestion, but her inflammation was 8 out of 10 in need of support. Her dysbiosis was 8 out of 10 in need of support, and her metabolic imbalance was 10 out of 10. Her beta-glucuronidase was sky high, and that's the number that showed why her estrogen levels were off, because her hormones were all over the place. And part of that is when beta-glucuronidase is elevated, that means you don't break down estrogen. So estrogens keep recirculating in your body, and they cause more inflammation and more fat gain. And she was on hormone replacement, all kinds of things. It just made her balloon up even more. What she said is, I now have great digestion and am on a promising path with my anxiety. Her anxiety was lessening thanks to lab tests, peptides, consultations, dietary changes, and supplements that have been recommended. They were exceptional with working with me on a payment plan to figure out what type of program works best with my finances, previous health education, and goals. While not inexpensive, I've been thankful for the investment in my health, as what the team at East West has provided. With knowledge and tools to take charge of it, I also know if I ever have issues resurface, there's a place to go I trust my body with. Also, I listen to Reagan's podcast, Your Healthy Self, which is now called Never Stop Healing, which always has great reminders how to stay on track. So anyway, that's pretty cool, right, kid?
So cool.
We changed her life. We changed her life by, remember the fishbowl analogy?
Yeah.
Conventional medicine will say, well, Elizabeth just needs another medication. Let's just turn off her whole digestive system. She's got IBS. I mean, there's no hope. And she realized that wasn't working. So what we did is we cleaned out her fish tank, created a better environment in her body. Now her body, her hormones are balanced, her thyroid's balanced, and she doesn't have the gut issues, and she was able to lose the weight. So this is an exciting time to be alive, because if you think about leaky gut, okay, the biggest thing that people need to realize is that we don't understand how many toxins that our bodies are taking in every single day. The EPA, what they suggest is that we're exposed to about 88,000 chemicals every single week, and only about a third of those have been tested for safety. And for those of you who don't watch the news and aren't familiar with what's going on in the world today, we're getting more things injected into our body that we don't have studies behind. We have more foods that have been adulterated and they've been compromised. We have greater levels of toxic burden. And so it's really important to take care of your overall health. That's what's really going to get you the result you're looking for. So how many of you enjoyed learning about leaky gut? And that gave you some insights. Yeah. Awesome. Good. Okay. So I think now that we're here, once again, we're looking for residual results. Anybody that we work with, our overall goal is to get you to the finish line when it comes to your health and not stop there. I wrote the book, Never Stop Healing, because Never Stop Healing is a reminder that your body is never at a place of perfect health. There's no such thing. I know you might look at some of those Olympic athletes and be like, they have perfect health, but I can tell you, we've ran labs on them and their health is not even perfect. They push their body so hard, but they look perfect, but that doesn't mean they're at perfect health. And I'm not saying anybody ever is, but what I'm saying is, once you start working on your health, there's this thing that happens where you get residual results. It's kind of like compounded interest. The more you invest in something, either you make the wrong investment and your health starts declining, or you make the right investment and your health just starts climbing higher and higher and higher. And so that's what our goal is. That's our promise, is we want to share with you solutions that lead to this residual result that you can always appreciate, where you can always turn back and love the way you feel about your health. So today I'm going to share with you what your next steps are. So Kate, is there any questions on the medical side before we kind of share with them some of the breakthroughs that we're offering as far as getting people to meet with us and getting a chance to have a one-on-one consultation? But any questions that have come through?
Let's see. It looks like it looks like we have a question on the gut bacteria. So the best gut bacteria, you want to reduce your firmicutes to get firm and cute. Is that how it works?
That's it.
Okay, so that was one of the questions. And then let's see. It looks like you answered the other one. So we're good.
Yeah. Oh, and then the bone broth. So just your takeaway for today. And it looks like someone makes their own bone broth. Who's that?
Nice work, Joy.
Joy. Awesome. Well done, Joy. So yeah, make your own bone broth is so good for you. Very nourishing. Bone broth, colostrum. These are great ways to heal your leaky gut. Take some collagen, because your intestinal membrane's all built up around collagen. So good. Hopefully you guys learned something today. Watch out for the ibuprofen. Get rid of the gluten. Get rid of the sugar. Now, those are some things you want to remove, and then put some things back into your life. And so for those of you who are ready and said, man, I really want to find out if I have leaky gut. I want to find out if I have thyroid conditions, autoimmunity. I want to find out if I've got issues with blood sugar, because it's such a big thing. I want to find out if my cardiovascular system is compromised in any way, and I want to do something proactive about it. For those of you who are ready to take the next step, I know several of you already have, and I want to congratulate you. Many of you are in our programs. You've done programs with us in the past, and I just want to thank you for being part of our community. You light me up every day. I wake up and I want to say, man, how can I be better? How can I bring new innovations here? But for those of you who are not yet with us, well, we're going to say the next step for you is to reserve your appointment today. And we only have a few left. But what we do is we spend the time needed for you to really uncover what's going on in your body. So if you've had labs ran, upload the labs into our EHR. It's safe there, it's HIPAA compliant, but we want to look at everything that's been getting in the way of you making the progress that you deserve in your life. So one of the things we'll do, we'll sit down, we're going to spend an hour of our time. We're going to ask you questions that most doctors, they don't ask, most practitioners don't even care about. We're going to look at any hormonal interferences, peptide interferences. We're going to look at your cardio-inflammatory risks. And then we're going to do a deep dive into your health history. And if we feel like we're a good fit, if we decide to work together, then our promise to you and our guarantee is that you'll have a complete picture of health, a complete plan of action. And this is going to be something that will be life-changing. Every time we meet with somebody new, it's a sacred experience for us. And I hope it is for you, because we really put a lot of energy into this, and we really want to connect with you to find out if we can help you. I don't like it when I have people I have to turn away because I said, look, you're just not in the right place. And I think you guys are aware of that. You know, I don't want to work with somebody who has a past that's bigger than their future. You know, if you're just waiting to die, this is not the program for you, because we're going to be optimizing your health. I don't want to work with people who are, you know, they don't take action. They don't do some of the things that we put in motion, because we can run the most complicated tests on the planet, but it's really the mindset behind it and the action that you take that turns the needle. And so for those of you who, you know, remember I shared this yesterday, but for those of you who feel like there's some hesitation and you're like, well, what should I do right now? Should I sign up? Should I not? Should I get help? Should I not? Should I just do it on my own? Well, I can tell you, doing it on your own, the cost of doing nothing could be one of the most expensive choices that you make. And we shared heart disease. So, you know, $4.8 million, and that was a statistic that was about 5 years ago, where they looked at the amount of cost that incurs both out of non-direct and direct cost. 4.8 million, that's a lot. If you look at diabetes, you know, this is 14 to 15,000 per year out of pocket. Any chronic disease is an additional $11,000 that you're spending each year on things that are expenses. What this is an investment of time. It's an investment of your resources, your hard-earned money, into your health. And this is, in my opinion, the best investment you can make is in your health. And so this is me at the end of the Michael Burnoff conference. And this was after 4 days of almost 16 hours in a room, and it's 2 a.m. And he puts an arrow up to my trachea and he says, all right, you got to lean in this and break the arrow. That was the rite of passage. And so this was me leaving back the previous version of Reagan. I said, all right, I'm turning pro. I'm going to be a better version of myself. This is Reagan 2.0. And remember, as I leaned into it, I could feel the sharpness of the arrow. You know, I could smell all the sweat in the room because there's people before me doing it and they were sweating and they were freaked out. I could feel myself sweating, and I realized I took a deep breath in, and as I let go, I leaned into it and snapped the arrow, and no pain was inflicted, no injuries, nothing had happened to me. That moment freed me up. And I want you to have that same experience in your life right now, where you just lean into the discomfort. You say, I'm ready to do something different with my life. I'm tired of my health getting in the way of me hiking, getting in the way of me hanging out with my kids. I want to have that exclusive pathway, that front row seat to better health, so that I don't miss out on those things in life that I care about most. I want to have better financial stability. I want to create more positive relationships, and I want to make a bigger difference in my life. And I can't do that without my health. So don't hesitate. You know, if this is you and you're ready to move forward, once again, we have a promise to you. Our guarantee is, if you do not find out, if we feel like you did not get value out of this conversation that we have in this initial consultation, we will refund you 100% of what you invested, and we will help you find somebody who can help you. We'll do our very best to do that. The other big promise that we have for you today is this $287 consultation is now just $87. And once again, we only have a few of those left. So take advantage of it today and get signed up. And so, Kate, I'm going to turn it over to you unless there's any other questions that came through.
No, it looks like biggest questions that we've had is how long does it take to really you know, get some of these results we're talking about, some of those patient testimonials?
Well, yeah, to get, we have a full program, and that program, it just really depends on what you need. But we work with patients for 7 months. We have 3 phases, and they're about 60-day cycles. And what we find is we can literally change the entire cellular and mitochondrial expression and the DNA expression in that person's body by working on all the different pathways in the program. And I'm happy to kind of share if you think it would be helpful, I'm happy to share with the people who are asking what that looks like. I'll share with you our Accelerate wellness, because I think this is the revolution that's happened. And this has just been in the previous few short months, is we realize we're not going to mess around. We're not going to minimize people's health any longer. We take it serious. You're frustrated that your doctor hasn't taken your health more seriously. And so we want to make sure we don't do that. But we also don't want to throw so many things at you, because I see so many doctors and there's no plan. They just throw off little nuanced one-offs, and they never give you a structured protocol. Our protocol is very structured. It's called Accelerate Wellness. And what we do in this process is we analyze the barriers to healing. We optimize once we see where the blockages are, the interferences, the toxins, the deficiencies. And then we start optimizing those pathways. We optimize your detox, your nutrition, your fitness, your brain health, and gut health. And then we start transforming your lifestyle. So we start helping you create those better positive relationships. You create better habits, because everybody tells us, Kate, I just need more discipline and then I'll be healthy. Well, every one of us is 100% disciplined to our current existing set of habits. So it's not more discipline that we need new habits. Yes. And so we help you put those in place. We have accountability structures, and then we measure your progress. And then the whole process, what we do is we take you through, and there's very specific pathways that we work on each month of your program, so that you can have a complete resolution of your symptoms and of your conditions.
That is gorgeous. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. So yeah, hopefully you guys see that there really is this beautiful pathway to accomplish what you're going after with your health. So I posted the link. I'm going to post this again in the chat box. You can click there to schedule. We block off a full hour on our provider's schedule, so that they can have the amount of time and resources necessary to really dive into what's happening, what you've done, and then if you're a good candidate for us to work with. And if you are, I think you'll be just amazed at what the possibilities are. So go in there. It's a simple process. You can click. You'll see, you can pick your time zone. If you're not in Mountain Time, you'll have a time zone option where you can select your specific time zone. And then on the calendar, there will be days that are highlighted. Those are the only days we have available right now. Currently, right at the moment, I'm going to refresh this. I was able to open up a couple more options. So right now we have 5. We actually just had one open up for tomorrow. So you can look there on the 10th, or we have the 15th and 16th next week. So dive in there, click there, and then you'll see some of the times pull up on the columns next to that. And so if you guys have any questions, type them into the chat box for me. Some other typical questions we'll get is it affordable, or can I afford this? And yeah, the short answer, absolutely. We've just to kind of give you guys a little understanding, we've worked with people from disability, fixed income, Social Security, single moms, single dads, and we typically figure out a way to fit it in their budget. We don't want finances to be a barrier for anyone, but it's absolutely an investment, and that's how you have to look at this. I think if you're looking at typical medical services and procedures, we typically look at them as an expense. This is not an expense because this is something that is going to provide you a return on investment for the rest of your life. This is an absolute an investment versus, something's, so severely broken and you're paying to put a Band-Aid on it and maybe with a medication or a surgery or something. Those are absolutely expenses, and sometimes they're necessary and needed. But yeah, the best way to look at this is one of the best investments that you can make for your future self. Because your future self, just think about when you talk to yourself in 3 years from now, what do you want yourself to be saying about your health? What about your energy levels? What kind of activities have you been able to do? Maybe right now you're able to do all the activities you want, but you just aren't able to do them as much or feel as good. Think about how much more you can do those when you have the energy and the strength and a capacity to do those and be able to do them long and into the future. Because that's really what we're passionate about is getting you to be able to live the life that you love. And that's that we love to see that in our patients. You've seen that in some of our testimonials. So if you haven't had a chance yet, go grab your appointment. They are running out quickly. And I'm excited about this, Reagan. I think we're going to be able to help a lot of people. I shared my story yesterday. I know you got to jump off. You got patients right now.
1 minute behind. So thanks, you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Appreciate it. Thanks, Cade. We'll see you soon.
Thanks so much, Reagan. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Great. And everybody out here on the webinar, thank you guys so much for joining us. We really, truly appreciate you guys being here and participating in this. Once again, I'll post this into the chat box so you have the link so it's easy to access. If you're listening to us through the, through maybe you don't see the screen or can't access the chat box, you can actually go to acueastwest.com/accelerate-program. And that will take you to a page. It'll actually have some of the recordings of our past ones. And so you can watch some of these, some of the past videos. I see Lisa here asking about that. And so I just posted that link as well. So you have access to those. But I encourage you, we have this, the $200 discount on the evaluation and consultation. It is well worth the investment for that, just to sit down and review it with your with one of our providers and see if there's what you can do to take action on your health. And so love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow for day 3, the final, and can't wait to see you guys then. I love you so much. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.